Hey guys, Nate here with Murray Farm and Ranch. I'm out here in the garden this morning, and I just kind of wanted to take you guys on a walkthrough, show you what we got going on, give you guys a little bit of update on a couple of projects. Man, you can see the sky behind me. Got rain in the forecast today. We were supposed to get wet yesterday, and we did not. The storms totally missed us. They kind of like split us on the radar. We got a big chance, 70 to 80% chance going in through the weekend, so hopefully we get some rain. I want to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update on the garden, show you kind of what we got going on. Got a couple of tips for you guys in this video. Yeah, so let's get started. This year has been a super hectic year as far as gardening goes. We just had the birth of our third son. Silas was born on the 6th of May. Today is the 12th of May. Yesterday was Noah's birthday. And so here we are. I've been super busy with all these different projects, trying to manage the kiddos. Tara, at the end of the pregnancy, was not feeling well, and so I had to pick up the slack with the two other boys. And yeah, it's just been, time has been short, and so the garden is not in the greatest of conditions. But the thing is that's okay. It's okay to have some weeds in your garden. It's okay for it to not look like, Martha Stewart. We gotta deal with what we got. And this garden, it's not gonna be the best garden I've ever had, but you can see there's already a bunch of stuff coming up. It's gonna produce a lot of food for our family, and at least we got something. So we got some peas coming up. These are sugar snap peas. Got some blooms on them, and I've got them coming up on this piece of fence. I don't ever throw stuff like this away. This is about a 40-foot piece of fence that I had left over from a fencing project, and so I just keep this, and I'll cut it down, roll it up, roll it back out, roll it up, roll it back out every year. And so this is a nice little piece of or a nice little stretch of sugar snap peas. Hey Coco, hey Coco Kitty. Here I've got some corn. These are super tight rows. There's 7 rows here, and they're planted super tight. And the reason why we did that is we have a lot of wind, and corn, it has pretty shallow root system, and so I pack these in here really tight. That way they'll help hold. Oh my gosh, Coco, you just tried to crawl up me. We'll pack them in here really tight so they'll help hold each other up. Got some onions in here. Now these onions, I had some sugar snap peas left over, and so I went ahead and just interspace these onions with some sugar snap peas and just let them grow on the ground. I don't know if they'll work out or not, but they're in here. But we got a long line of really nice looking onions. I mean, those things look delicious. So I mentioned that this corn is packed in here really tight. That's one of the tips of this video, is that when this corn is packed in here so tightly, it'll help support itself. And I can actually take like a piece of twine or nylon rope and run it around as this corn starts to grow up. I can take something and run it around and tie it, like basically make a big loop around the corn and help support it. That way, whenever we get those really strong Oklahoma winds, which typically come out of the south, so south is this way, so that wind is going to be blowing back into here, and it's going to want to push the corn over, but I can help support it, being that it's in here so tightly, and I can do that with some twine. Next up is our cabbage. I mean, these things are looking nice. They definitely are, no cabbage heads yet, but they're going to. They're looking pretty. Got kale that's booming. I need to harvest some of this. We're gonna have to get this in the freezer here pretty quick because it's getting hot and it's gonna start getting kind of bitter and milky. These are collard greens here. I mean, look at that. That is some good eating right there. Cook that in some bacon fat. Put a little hot pepper sauce on there. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Now, back here, yep, that's a bunch of weeds. Like I said, this garden's not perfect this year, but being that it's not perfect, it's still making a bunch of food. Alright, got some squash coming up. Squash and some cucumbers. I'll have to trellis these cucumbers up once they come up. Tomatoes. I pruned these a couple of days ago. They're starting to get some blooms on them. So the way I like to prune my tomatoes is I like to basically pick a single stalk, and then I'll pick the suckers off. So like something like this is a sucker, and so that would end up making another vine. I go ahead and pick those off, and that helps to make the tomato focus more on its main stem, and that makes a really productive plant. This is a black cherry, so I can't wait to eat some of those. The boys love cherry tomatoes. These are looking really good. I put a little bit of bone meal and dried molasses on them a couple of days ago. That's going to soak in after this rain, and it's going to make these tomato plants just pop. So we've got a mix of big tomatoes, and so like that's a black cherry. This is a celebrity. Man, Coco today is wanting attention. This kitty cat 99% of the time wants to be left alone. Today is not that day. He wants some attention. So this is a super fantastic, come on iPhone. Yeah, there we go, super fantastic. So these tomato plants are about 30 inches high, which is pretty good coming into the early May. Looking excellent on the tomatoes. Back here on the other side, I've got a mix of pepper plants. Oh, got a couple of other things here. This is some tomatillos. I really like tomatillos. I like to make green salsa. There's so many different Mexican dishes that we like to use the tomatillos for. Green salsa is like one of my favorite things. A couple of eggplants. These are jalapenos. These, we got nothing coming up here yet, but this is going to be a row of okra. This is actually well, I suppose they're edible, but this row is going to be some sunflowers. These are going to be some giant sunflowers. They're supposed to grow to like 10 to 11 feet tall. I did that for a couple of reasons. One is it's going to be a good source of pollination for, it'll be a pollinator plant for bees and so forth. It's also, these things are really tall, and so they're going to help give a little bit of shade. So, yeah, grew those in the garden this year. This row is some black-eyed peas. They're just starting to make their entrance. It's a little new baby plant. So there's going to be a whole row of black-eyed peas. Let's see what else we got. So I didn't plant these this year, but this is some thornless blackberries. Check these out. So I think I've told you guys the story on these blackberries before, but I'm going to go ahead and tell it again. So I had this patient, and he was super dear to me. Man, I love that guy. He was in his upper 80s, and he liked to garden, and we always would. He'd come in. I feel like he came in more just to talk to me about gardening and fishing and so forth than he actually cared anything about being seen for his health. But he gave me these. He gave me 10 shoots of these blackberries. This will be the third year, so basically 2 winters ago. And I planted them, and they're supposed to. He says that the blackberries will come out the size of your thumb, and the vines are thornless. And so anyway, I planted these, and this is the first year that we're going to get to harvest them, and I'm so excited about that. The boys love blackberries. And the crazy thing is my patient, he passed away this year, just a few months ago. And so, every time I see these blackberries, I think of him. And he was so dear to me. I'm going to miss him so much. He lived an awesome life. He was in his upper 80s when he passed. And man, I'm going to miss him. But I'm going to think about him for the rest of my life, because I'm going to keep these blackberries going forever. And I'll never forget him. Got a couple of, these are some young hens they're over here staying in these chicken tractors. These are some laying hens that we got coming up. These whitish ones are called, what are they called? They are smoky pearls. And then the brownish red ones are cinnamon queens, which are one of my favorite varieties. Over here, some horseradish. We got 3 big horseradishes coming up. I need to come in here and mulch this real heavy and get it cleaned out. But horseradish is super vigorous. As long as it stays watered and has a little bit of shade to it, it's going to do well. And I think it'll honestly choke out a lot of this grass and stuff over time. But I need to come in here and mulch it really good, try to snuff out some of the grass. But basically, horseradish is a root crop where it's going to make these tubers or whatnot underneath the ground, and you take that, you grind it up, and you make horseradish sauce and so forth with it, which I love. Let's see what else we got going on. Check this out. Look at all this asparagus. Look how healthy that looks. I got just a ton of it. This is year number 3 for my asparagus. I still have not harvested any. I'm gonna let it go this year, and then next year we're gonna start selectively harvesting our asparagus. You want to let your asparagus develop a really nice system underneath the ground. And that's going to help the crowns to become really strong and vigorous, and that way they'll manage like heat stress, drought stress, and so forth much better, and they'll produce better, more vegetables that way. I intercropped a little bit with some strawberries. These are mixed in here with the asparagus. I got a couple coming up, not a lot, honestly. I planted like 10 crowns and only a couple of them came up, but hopefully I can keep those going. It's a little apple tree. Peach tree. Blueberries. So these blueberries are absolutely banging. Planted 5 bushes. There's 2 different varieties in here. Look at that. There's some blueberries. Blueberries require acidic soil. And so what I did here is we dug, these are old cattle tubs. These are mineral tubs that the cows had used. And so I cut the bottom out. We dug down and we put these cattle tubs down in the ground. And then we used a mix of garden soil and peat moss, and then we acidified it with sulfur granules. The reason why we did this is this will help keep the acidification, the acidified soil confined. And we need that because these blueberries will do really well with acidified soil. It needs to be around 6 or so. And then I mulched it with pine bark mulch, which is supposed to further acidify the soil. Pine needles are really good, but I couldn't find any this year. Next time I go down to my parents' cabin, I'm going to collect a bunch and bring back a bunch of pine needles to further mulch this. Another peach tree. This one is looking really nice. Does not have any peaches on it yet. It's been in the ground for 3 years. I expect next year it'll make some peaches. This one right here is the same age. So I planted these at the same time. This one has just gotten huge. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the proximity to my my compost bins. I don't know if maybe that compost is running down and just giving this one so much more nutrition or what. But I mean, this thing is just, it's literally twice the height, and it's loaded with peaches. I've come in here and I've thinned these on a couple of different occasions, but I probably honestly need to thin it more because I mean, there's just so many peaches on here. I probably need to come in and knock off a few more, but man, awesome. Got a couple more things to show you. Got some little baby greens. These are some arugula. Stuff is great, cut, added in, mixed in with your salads. I like it with eggs too, honestly. There's some strawberries. Yeah, so my mom bought me this little strawberry planter. She got me 2 of them. I want to say for my birthday maybe. It's a 3-tiered system. Planted strawberry in every one of these, on both of them, and oddly only the ones on top survived. Now the ones on top look great. I mean, they're just looking awesome, but I don't understand what went wrong with the bottom tiers. So anyway, I'll probably just take those off and keep them like individually, plant them next time. Got some more arugula. This stuff, I mean, look how beautiful that is. I mean, looks super good. I like to mix this in, like I said, with our salads, and then I like to. One of my favorite things with this is to cut it, put in some artichoke hearts, some feta cheese, and then make a lemon oil kind of vinaigrette. So good. This is a new little project that I got going on out here. So this part of my garden, so the garden kind of slopes like this, and this part is not, it does not have very deep topsoil, and you can only dig down about 8 inches or so, and you start running into some pretty hard clay. And so what I did here is I cut these trees were cut out of a fence line. These are some big old oak trees, like that's probably like a 14 or 16 inch oak tree. And so I've laid out a couple, and I'm actually going to cut more and lay them all the way down. And then this is basically I'm composting cow manure and like old hay, cow manure, that's grass clippings, got some cardboard mixed in, and I basically just got a giant compost pile going on here. And the way that I've got this kind of bordered with this with these logs, basically this is going to add like 10 or 12 inches of topsoil, I'm hoping. I don't know if this would be considered topsoil or just like 10 to 12 inches of compost. It's going to take a couple of years for this to make a difference, but you know, I've got the manure. I have to clean out the barns all the time, so I might as well be using it. And so I just bring it over here 1 tractor bucket at a time. Here's a couple more of the ladies. This is a Barred Rock. Or Dominique. No, this is she's a Dominique. And she's a beautiful chicken. I love these Dominiques. Got a couple more over here. This is where I dump our food scraps. There's all kind of stuff in here. I dumped some fish that I filleted, so I got like a fish head in there. That's catfish head. Old turnip. Who knows what all's in there? But I just basically anything that we eat or comes out of the fridge that is not good for us anymore, I dump over here and I let the chickens go through it. Worms and maggots and stuff get in there and they eat those. It's just a constant source of extra nutrition for them. They ain't complaining about it. I got some more little baby chickens. Whenever I'm introducing new hens, I like to put them in next to the older chickens and let them kind of get acquainted with each other before I turn them out. I feel like they do better with each other. They don't pick on each other quite as much. They're looking good. What are you doing? What are you doing coming out of there? Did you lay me an egg? Did you lay me an egg, old lady? Let's go see what you got. Let's see if we got any eggs this morning. Oh, we got somebody laying an egg. Oh, we got somebody else laying some eggs. Looks like all the eggs are probably covered up. This old lady. Look at her. You think she wouldn't peck my hand? You think you wouldn't peck my hand? I think she wants to just be left alone. Well, guys, that's a quick tour of the garden. Like I said, it's by far not my prettiest garden. A lot of weeds. There's places that aren't planted. There's things that aren't cleaned up. But the thing is you just gotta take what you can get when it comes to doing this stuff. And I mean, I'm super pleased that I've at least been able to get out here and do some of it and get something growing. We're already getting meals from our garden. You know, we're using green onions. We've eaten a ton of collard greens and kale. Before long, we'll have bukus of tomatoes and cucumbers and squash. Hopefully the corn makes. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not the best garden I've ever made, but I'm just using the time that I have, and at least it's something. You know, it gets the boys out. The boys come out here and they play outside while I'm working in the garden. I got Noah a sandbox right beside the garden shed here that I'm working on, so he plays in that. And I'll pay the boys. I'll give them $1 to come help me weed the garden. I give them dollars for everything, you know. I'll give them $1 for pulling weeds, $1 for feeding chickens, whatever. You know, I want to get them outside, teach them that hard work is worthwhile, and get them bought in on what we're doing out here, producing good, clean food for our family. And anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, catching up with the garden tour. It's been a while since we've done anything out here in the garden, showed you what we got going on. I hope you guys have got your garden started. It's not too late. You still got a lot of growing season left, so get out there and get something planted. God bless. Catch you back on the next one.